Welcome to the Bay. Today, we're stepping into the ring for a true heavyweight tech matchup. In one corner, we've got the reigning champ of high-end value, and in the other, the brand new, undisputed king of the performance hill. So, here's the big question for any of us building a new rig. Do you go for the absolute no-compromise, top-of-the-line power of the new flagship? Or is the smarter play to stick with the refined champion that gives you incredible bang for your buck? And here they are, our two contenders. You've got the NVIDIA RTX 5090, the unmatched flagship, built for just bleeding-edge everything. And on the other side, the RTX 4080 Super, a card that has become the absolute go-to for a high-end value build, and for good reason. Totally different philosophies, both promising one heck of a gaming experience.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll introduce the Titans. Then, we'll get right into the 4K performance showdown. After that, we're going to look beyond just frame rates at the tech and features, analyze the all-important cost and power numbers, and finally help you figure out which one is the right GPU for your next build.
All right, let's get into it. Round one, we're going to look at the core specs, the tail of the tape. This is where you really start to see the fundamental differences in what these two cards are trying to do. Wow. Okay, what's really wild about this slide is just how stark the contrast is. We're talking basically double the price, you get double the VRAM, and it's that next-gen GDDR7 memory. And just look at that power draw. The 1590 is making a very clear statement right from the jump. This is maximum performance, and it comes at a maximum cost. And now for round two, the 4K performance showdown. Let's forget all the theory and specs for a minute. This is all about pure, raw, in-game frames per second. This is where the rubber really meets the road, and honestly, it's what most of us are here for, right? And here it is, the big headline number, pulled right from our benchmark data. In those really demanding, ray-tracing-heavy games at 4K, the RTX 5090 can be up to 60% faster. Let that sink in. That is not a small jump. That is a massive generational chasm. And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? In Cyberpunk 2077, with full path tracing on, the ultimate GPU melter, the 5090 is pushing over 150 frames per second. Now, the 4080 Super is still delivering a fantastic, super smooth experience at 112, but the 5090 is just playing in a completely different league. And we see the exact same story in another next-gen monster, Alan Wake 2. I mean, yeah, both cards are way above that 60 FPS gold standard, but the 5090's lead is just huge. That's the kind of headroom that guarantees a buttery smooth experience no matter what's happening on screen. Looking across the whole suite of games, the 5090 just consistently dominates. But here's the thing. Don't just look at the average FPS. Check out those 1% lows. Those numbers tell you how smooth the game feels, preventing those awful stutters. The 5090's worst moments are often better than the 4080 Super's average, and that is a huge deal for how the game actually feels to play. But a GPU is so much more than just a frame rate machine. So in this round, we're going to look beyond the FPS counter, at the tech that powers these cards and really future-proofs your PC for whatever's coming next. So the 5090, it's built on the new Blackwell architecture, which is what unlocks the next generation of upscaling with DLSS 4. But honestly, the biggest story here for future-proofing is the memory. 32 gigs of cutting-edge GDDR7 on a massive 512-bit bus. That means it has so much more bandwidth for giant textures and really complex AI stuff. And hey, that's not just our opinion. As the experts over at bestgpusforgaming.com put it, in ray tracing and AI-accelerated workloads, the RTX 5090 is in a different league. This is a card that is truly built for the future of PC gaming and beyond. Okay, let's talk brass tacks. Performance is awesome, but every PC build has a budget and, a power supply. This round is all about the pound-for-pound value, what these cards actually cost to buy and to run. First up, the RTX 5090. The typical price is sitting right around $2,000. That is a serious investment for just one part of your PC. We are firmly in no compromise territory here. And then in a stunning comeback, the RTX 4080 Super clocks in at around $1,000. That's right. For pretty much half the price, you get a card that still gives you an absolutely incredible high-end 4K gaming experience. The value here is, well, it's impossible to ignore. And that cost isn't just what you pay at the store. The 5090 is a power-hungry beast. You're going to need a beefy 1,000-watt power supply minimum, and some really good case airflow to handle all that heat. The 4080 Super, on the other hand, is way more forgiving. It fits into most builds with a standard 750-watt unit and runs a whole lot cooler and quieter. And this chart, this really says it all. When we do the math and look at the frames per dollar, the RTX 4080 Super is the decisive winner. It's not even close. You're getting way more performance for every single dollar you spend. For any builder who's focused on smart, efficient value, the 4080 Super is the clear pound-for-pound champ. So, after all of that, who wins? Well, in our final round, we are declaring a winner for you, because there isn't one single champion here. The best card is the one that's the right fit for your build, your budget, and what you're actually going to use it for. So, let's see. Are you the no-compromise enthusiast? If you just want the absolute best 4K performance possible, if you're hyped for next-gen path tracing and DLSS 4, and if that price tag and power draw don't make you blink, then your choice is simple. The RTX 5090 is your champion, hands down.
But maybe you're the smart high-end gamer. You play at 1440p or 4K, you want awesome ray tracing and DLSS, but you also care about getting great value and not having to rewire your whole setup for a new power supply. For you, the RTX 4080 Super is the smarter, more balanced, and frankly, the obvious choice.
But there's a third person we need to talk to, the AI and creator power user. If your day job involves 3D rendering, complex video editing, or running local AI models, that 32 gigs of VRAM and that insane AI horsepower, that's not a luxury, it's a necessity that can save you time, which means it can make you money. For that user, the RTX 5090 isn't a gaming card, it's a professional tool, and it's the best one for the job. And hey, if you fall into that last category, the team over at bestgpusforgaming.com has a much, much deeper analysis that focuses specifically on AI and creative workloads for these cards. It is absolutely worth checking out to see if that performance boost is worth the cash for your specific work. So the final decision really comes down to you. Are you going for the absolute knockout punch with the Flagship, or are you playing the long game with the smart value champion? Let us know down in the comments which GPU you'd pick for your next build. Thanks for stopping by.